Hello everyone and welcome to another episode in the world of Fords this time. Well, of course, this is mostly a Ford channel these days. It's the Ford National at Gaydon, absolutely. I've had this show in my calendar for a long time, and the Ford Nationals bring together all sorts of Fords from all walks, no matter what their age, value, or the only thing that is valuable is the fact that every single one of their owners think that they are a cherished car, of which they all are, of course, cherished and loved and pampered in different ways. And that's what's beautiful about such a show as this. So I'm going to show you around on some of the most interesting cars that we like on this channel. The cars that I won't show, well, it's not as if I'm not interested in them, but there's too many cars here. There's loads of cars going on here. Yeah, the main element of this film is going to be this bunch over here. So many of you will know that a few of us started the Mark III Fiesta group, the standard Mark III Fiesta group, although I've got to be honest, the standard element, I'm kind of removing that from the group title because we're not fussy about what you put on your car as long as it's not really heavy. At the end of the day, having any Mark III is remarkable because they shouldn't exist really. They were only designed to last 5 to 10 years at the best, and most of them never lasted 5 years, probably due to lack of maintenance, but also build quality as well, possibly in some cases. And to see as many in one place as possible is always an amazing thing. We've also got some other Mark IIIs that actually have showed up in this this show today, but this is the culmination of a bit of organising from myself and Max. And obviously I'm going to start with Max's car over here, Fez 3111, nice registration plate. Now this is probably the most modified example here, and it is all OEM plus. Everything is genuine RS accessories. So if you look at the wheels for a start, of course, I mean, we've got the Euro lights as well. They're incredibly hard to find actually, from what Max has told me. It did start life, and it still is, a Fiesta Classic Quartz, so the run-out model. Now I believe that this is a September 96 registration. I think I got that correct. I might have got it wrong by a month, but it was extremely late, and you could get some very late Mark IIIs on an R registration apparently. I've never seen one, but this is as late as what you'll get. So you know, you have things like Mark III 0.5 door mirrors, and what would have been fitted to Mark IVs later on. There's some smoke realised, and obviously the side repeaters actually have already been changed, so things have already started to veer forwards onto the Mark IV side of things. The seat trim is quite nice actually. It's quite a typically sort of mid-90s style pattern, blue, sort of seagull. It's like a seagull sort of pattern actually. Airbag, steering wheel, etc. This is a pampered car. It's never driven in the wet. It's stored in a dry space, very much to the same place like Ruby, except she's under a car cover. But I just come under here, look at this. Now, thanks to these mirrors, it really does showcase how clean it is. Now, it has been restored underneath. It just can't look that it's good. I mean, it's things like the blue paint on the bolts. Well, Max has done that really nicely. That's exactly how it should be, including like your green brake pipe, and exactly as it should have looked. Everything is brand new and has been renewed really nicely. Might have to look at the train arm bushes on Ruby. I think that's the next thing on my list. Being a late one, obviously we'd have heat shields because we have a catalytic converter underneath here. If I could just show you in, we've still got some, well, the later arms are for power steering, but I believe, I'm not sure if this has power steering. So some late models did get it. It's quite a rare thing, but yep, you've got your cat right there, obviously not on the floor, it's right there, guys. But I love the way it's been painted in this green, this really nice green colour actually, very similar to the exterior, and it matches it very nicely. This is a lovely bit of paintwork. I believe this colour also made its way onto Mark IVs. And obviously at the front, or some people would say it's the RS accessory front bumper, with the fog lights that are I think they're quite unique to this bumper, I believe. I don't think you can get them on any other. headlamp protectors and everything. Everything's genuine, and this is full marks to him for this. That could be the original Tats disc if I look at the age of it, or it could be a reproduction, a very good one. It looks like the original, and that's the correct. It'll be a 12-month one from the start. Everything we do is driven by you. I love those. I like that. I really do. I feel like I need to go the extra length. And you might notice actually on the driver's side we have got some quartz mats as well, so the genuine mats, all really, really nice. Interestingly, the boot release button is a blank, so I presume they either moved it or you couldn't. I'm not sure whether it would have been de-wipered from the get-go, but looking at where it was registered, Hammer Ford Hales Owen, yep, that's a stone's throw away from me. Wow. It's had some lowering springs, built-in shock absorbers. Oh, it's got a Fisher box tape holder. I didn't even notice that actually. Oh, that is rare. That is very, very rare actually. I actually wanted one for Ruby. The only problem with those Fisher tape boxes, I can probably grab one for about £100 for a contact, but the problem is it might scratch some of the plastic on the dashboard. So it's not one of those things that you could remove if you didn't want it there in the future. So a future owner, if they don't want it, well, why wouldn't they want it? If they wanted it to be original, because it never came with it, I didn't want it scratching the plastic and leaving permanent marks. So yeah, oh bloody hell, the tape's coming off again. Ruby's made it as usual, and she's looking absolutely amazing, flying the flag for Mark III's. As always, no problems with this car. In fact, she ran very nicely today. I always say how well she runs, because as many of you will know who follow the videos, she doesn't always run very well. That's the biggest problem with this, but she's running well today, and I'm really super pleased with this car. Obviously, we come to Richard's F-reg LX, looking predictably used. And it's just a fantastic car, this is. After I finished that video where we coincidentally had 5 F-regs, by the way, everybody was invited to that. All these cars could have attended, but coincidentally, the only ones that made it were F-regs. So it wasn't an F-reg meet, it just so happened that 5 F-regs turned up. We did have a bit of a problem with the fan at the end of that day. Richard said that the fan had never worked, which was a bit concerning, because that's your supply of cold air when you're not moving and things are getting a bit hot in here. There is quite a bit of space in the engine bay, to be fair, even if we were CVH. But literally, we got the wheel brace, and I just literally smacked this motor, thinking, well, let's just give it a smack. I did bridge the wires on the connection to the temperature sensor, using my little bridge that I use for tuning, because I've used it for Ruby, and absolutely nothing. So we gave the fan a bit of a whack, and it kicked in straight away. So the fan started working, and it's been continuing to work. So you know what? These fans are so robust, honestly, they'll last forever. Just give it a bit of lubrication, probably a bit of GT85, and give it a smack, and it'll be good for another 20 years or so. And that's no exaggeration. You know, when people say these cars are built down to a price, yeah, but in certain departments. But I look at things and I think, well, actually, there's more high quality items on this car than I would say that are found in any modern car in terms of plastics, materials and components. I mean, I'm going to cry about this, but you know, glass headlamps instead of plastic, you know, they don't fade and they just last, but they're heavier, so we can't have them because, oh, emissions. So it's rather sad that that's the case. Oh, dearie me, this is rare. This is rare. So this is Jordan's Fiesta Courier. Now, Couriers are so rare. He's got the top out, so he's just opened that up. He's had all the inside done up quite nicely. He's changed the wheels on it. He's done a few little alterations. The door mirrors are quite unique on these. These are huge door mirrors, and you certainly need this because you don't have rear visibility being the Courier unless you had the whole thing open. You've got a massive side window here. Most of these were campers, by the way. Most of these were used as campers. This was a camper, and it started life as a camper. But the problem is you'd have to sort of fold the front seat forward where your bedding was, and the sort of the stove was right behind the driver's seat. Bit awkward. They've put some SI wing-back seats in. Got an airbag there, airbag steering wheel. So a little bit later on in life, it being an L plate, obviously Mark 3.5, we'd already started to have some later items added. Again, he's done the usual thing for the tax disc. Love it. That's the way to be. He's not going to like me for this, but he had a real disappointing mishap yesterday when cleaning. The screen's cracked. He went in the house, came back. It was a hot day, and he came back to a crack. And I feel for him because that's exactly what happened to Beatrix after a show. But you know, unfortunately, these screens get old, they crack, and there's just a weakness, and it can happen to any of these. He's just so unlucky. So he will get a new screen, and he'll change this rubber out, and it will look better than ever. So all these stickers will come off. He had some Courier decals made. It's interesting, the roof just curves up just a little bit. All different panelling. This was a very weird design. I believe it might have been done at Dagenham, but it might have been contracted outwards. I've seen conversions like this before on metro camper vans. You know, that was a thing. The rear suspension is a little bit thicker. This beam is so huge down there. It's quite a thing, actually. It goes all the way across. It's really, really big because obviously you're carrying heavier weights. So if we come back to the back here, transit rear lights, yes. Parts bin in this department. The exhaust comes out at the back, right in the corner, actually, and I suspect that's exactly how it was meant to be. Fluted edge exhaust, quite nice. It's got a tow bar, probably not good for towing anything other than probably half a semi-trailer. That's a practical joke because I'm sure it can do way more than that. That's the original decal as well. Yeah, he's had the inside done up quite nicely, actually. It's a nice sort of kitchenette area. He's tinted the windows quite nicely, and he's got the top up really, really nicely. Really nice. Honestly, I just love the little emblems like this. Kind of coordinated handles. He's had a lot of work done on the rear of the car. In fact, he's had these arches cut out and re-welded and re-sprayed. In fact, I like the work that's been done here. That looks really, really neat. He's had all the paintwork done. Ruby will be receiving similar work on the driver's side arch, just to keep on top of things. As far as I'm aware, with Couriers, you've got this spoiler at the front. There was the Fiesta 35 van, I think it was the 35 or the 55. They're as rare as hen's teeth as well. The Couriers, as far as I'm aware, there's only about 15 left, so there you go, take that. And most of them are probably rotting in farmlands, and yeah, it's so nice to see this. Then we move to a really, really nice car, and honestly, this car needs absolutely no introduction. Of course, it's the S, and this is on a J registration, so there would have been a few tweaks just to the original S cars. The S, obviously 1.6 CVH, about 90 horsepower, very punchy, carburetted. They were never injected. The SX that replaced this was a bit of a downgrade in the engine department because I think Ford were moving on from the CVH and wanted to cut it out because of emissions. And when it became the SX in 91, so this would have been one of the last S's, you only got a 1.3 Valencia, which is a bit of a bummer. We've got an SX in the club as well, but I believe the SX also had the same trims. The earlier type of trims, slightly different design, but this is really nice. I just love that imprinted design. That is really nice. And you paid good money for an S back in the day, and you got the red decals on the sides. You didn't get any two-tone, that was only a gear thing, but you got the red strips, and it's quite unique interior actually with the material. That's the only minor differences. We've got the electric window switches are still on the centre console with the boot release. Now in 91 there was a bit of a crossover, so this must have been one of the last ones to have this configuration, because I know for a fact later 91 cars the electric window switches were moved to the driver's door card by the cubby box at the back there. That's the only thing to mention there. Got the mats as well. Everybody's got the mats. I need to get the mats. So as I come to the back here, it's a really nice car, and believe you me, considering the condition of the overall car, it's actually used regularly. That's ridiculous. None of my cars ever look this good in the paintwork department, being half used. Haynes of Maidstone, Kent's first distributor, first Ford distributor. Now Haynes, they have sold quite a few. There's been quite a few Mark IIIs that have come on the market, and they've all got Haynes. This may have had a Haynes sticker right here potentially, because I've seen a few with a dealer sort of tag on it. This doesn't have it, but it's certainly got the plates to show, and these are the original plates. I love the original sticker. D&B Graphics will reproduce that. It does look like there's been a bit of red around the number plate light, which is quite interesting because I never thought there would have been any red there. It's got a Sportex back box. I think that's the only change that's really been made to it, to be honest. This car might be seen, you've got the steering wheel, of course, that you get on the S. It's got a sort of perforated leather rim to it. Still two-spoke, but a bit more sporty. Apart from that, all good. Oh, he's even got the Ford seat coverings. Oh, honestly, that's amazing. That's amazing. But my attention is to these spot lamps, because I only just recently discovered how expensive these brackets are. I think someone who was asking about £100 for two of these brackets at least. Yeah, and the spot lamps aren't cheap either, I can tell you. We've got these lovely Ford covers on them. I believe the brackets, I think they just literally slot into the side piece across the radiator. And believe you me, you've got no centerpiece on the bumper. It's not missing it. It shouldn't have it. There should be no centerpiece here, unlike the other cars. If I just show you, this centerpiece can't exist because the bracket comes here, so you can't have a centerpiece. Now, I'm going to show you the car next door that we have seen recently on this channel that has been modified so it can have the centerpiece. This is a cracking car, this is. This is the Sunray that we actually saw very recently, and the Sunray got some spot lamps like from an S. It's a very weird configuration. David, you mentioned about the glove box. Yes, it's a very weird spec of what this could have been, because I'm thinking it's sort of bonus popular. Well, the bonus is a popular plus effectively, or popular. No glove compartment, but yet it had things thrown at it like your spot lamps. So a real mishmash. But if you can see here, they've had the brackets done in, but they've also put the centerpiece in, which is really neat. They've also secured the center with a self-tapping screw. So this car wouldn't have had this, but they've added it in because it looks neater. What is this? A Carello spot lamps. Yeah, that takes a bit of voltage, that does. These tend to last quite a while actually. No, that's really cool actually. They tend to go for quite expensive, I can tell you. These are the correct wheels as well, as far as I was made aware. Bit of a correction on the last video. So I said plastic liners. Now the Sunray, this is practically the only one I think that exists. I think there's another one on Sawn potentially, from what I've been told. But this is not a plastic. It's almost soft touch foam. It's got give in it. That's very interesting. Bit of a dirt trap, some people would say. I know VWs of this era have these kind of skirtings and they rot when you take the plastic off, and they are plastic. But overall, I just love the design of these XR2 alloys. Lovely, 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 lovely. They're just a good added fit. decal wise, I didn't venture into this before, but this sun strip it goes lighter as you get along. I believe the Sunray and the S-spec were like sister cars in terms of being dealership specials. S-specs, I think there's only one left, and that's on Sawn for definite. But all usual, it's straight out of a popular plus, because we've got trim on the top of the doors, so I'm presuming that's kind of what it would depict as. We've got another decal that kind of goes up the sides, and again it becomes white over time. And then you've got the spoiler at the back as well. It's a lovely car, but it was not badged as anything. It wasn't, there was no Sunray badge. There was no Sunray sticker applied, just the decals, the spoiler, the fog lamps. That's really it. It's got a lovely story to it, actually. I believe that it was quite well cared for. It was one of 1,000, yes, and it's potential that this came out of Kirby at Ford, so it's not a Dagenham car, Kirby at Ford. Kirby Ford. So yeah, pretty much mostly original. That's lovely. Bradley owns this car. He's done a wonderful job keeping it in the condition it's in, and wonderful in this lineup on this J-Reg. And then we've got this 1992 K-Reg K631 PPV. Now this has been on YouTube before. It was a review done by Classic World, I think. I think that's the name. It wasn't the best of reviews, and the owner kind of was like, yeah, they kind of digged into it quite a bit for being wallowy and lopsided and pretty average, and it was a pretty poor interview. And it's nice to have Mark III's in the spotlight, but to call it average Joe, well, it was a car to get from A to B. It did a job, and it did its job extremely well. And it did its job so well, as I explained in Ruby's review video, that nobody paid attention to it, because it's like, I don't know, London black cab taxis. You know, if you want to be a super criminal and a mass murderer, you just go around in a black taxi because you'll blend in. Nobody will bat an eyelid. And it was the same with Fiestas. They were just everywhere 10 to the penny. But they did their job so well that people never really paid attention until it was too late, when they're all so rare. Now this is an automatic. It is a CVT, but it's a 1.3. Now those of you who watch this video, it's interesting, you've got the boot release right to the left of the gear stick, and that is because you've got your electric window switch right there. It's like an afterthought sticking the switches there. I don't like it. So when they changed that from about mid-91, that's where your boot release went. Interesting that it frees up the cubby though to be free for putting things in. Note the gear lever has a matte top, no glossy trim on it. That was only a thing on Mark II Fiesta CVTs, and I think Ruby's the only one to have that glossy bit. I think it's just an early thing, just cheapening it out. It is a gear, obviously, so it wouldn't have had these trims, but these are trims that are the most obtainable. Getting trims is very, very difficult. It's a bit careworn in places. It doesn't matter, it's used and it's enjoyed. It's used, it's quite a low mileage car, this. It's not used as regularly as probably what the owners would like to it. They are kind of thinking potentially the gearbox is on its way out because it keeps leaking. Gee, I'll stick you under here, the bonnet's open. Yes, the gearbox might be a bit leaky. That's what they do, unfortunately, these CVTs. I'm touchwood with Ruby, I haven't got that problem. But potentially, as the owner describes, the gearbox might be on its way out because it's taking ages to move off. That could also be other issues as well. But the owner wants and has all the bits to convert it to a manual. So that would be rather interesting if that was the case. Definitely so. It's got some careworn edges around here. I'm not going to point that out because yeah, it's a lovely interior, I have to say. So I've got the very early gear interior in Ruby. Now from about 1990 they changed it to this sort of two-tone pattern to match the two-tone. So we've still got the two-tone going on, which is what I like. It's still early enough that we've still got the two-tone, where gears after about 1993, full body colour coordinated, including the bumpers. Great, and it made it look modern, but there's something about two-tone I just like. And this two-tone is just a stone chip grey coating over the top. But they did the same with the seats. It's an interesting material. It feels, it's still got that feel to it. It's just a different seat pattern. They go baggy like they all do, and the seats are a different design. I think they changed it around 1990. But yeah, and you've got this grey material to sort of blend it in, and the headrests are the same colour. Same for the back seats as well. No, it's really nice to see. The owner loves this car, and she'll keep it on. Honestly, this car will survive. It may not survive in automatic form, but it will survive in some form. And obviously, at this stage, around 92, they gave you a physical badge instead of a sticker. Some people like it, some people don't. Interestingly. Registered at Westwood and Clark Motor World. I think that might be original, actually. Well, it looks original, judging by the screws. And the downturned exhaust. Many of them have got this, and this is correct for this age. And that looks precisely what you'd have got back in the day. Some of them sort of loop down, and some of them stick out quite a long way. If I just stick you under here. I believe the spare wheel, the spare wheel carrier changed in size as well. I've got the earlier version, which is much smaller to house a smaller wheel, but they changed the size a bit later on. This is Moondust Silver, not Stratos Silver. So Moondust Silver came in around 1991 and replaced Stratos. It's just a little bit deeper. I believe, if I look at that, yeah, I believe there is a different, this is Moondust. I've got to go and have a look at Richard's car. Yeah, there is a difference. Stratos is just fractionally deeper, a deeper grey, a bit more gunmetal. But I'm pretty sure that's not Stratos. Might be wrong about that one. Really, really nice. Now, that's our lineup for our club. We are having a feature done by Retro Ford magazine. They love anything that I touch, believe you me. So yeah, I'm just so pleased to get all these in a line, and that's what it's about. It lifts everybody's heads. It gives people a reason to bring their Fiesta out and park along cars of the same ilk. And do you know what? Comparing notes is a great thing, but just sharing an interest. And it's lovely to see all these. Honestly, this is wonderful. Anyway, I am going to leave that there and have a venture around.
Right, let me pass you over.
Thanks, Ian. Unfortunately, I'm not as quick-witted as you, so I'll try and avoid any controversial jokes today. So, for those of you who may be aware, we have a lovely group of Mark III Fiestas down there. Believe it or not, the group only started a few months ago. Just the element was to try and get as many Mark IIIs together in one place, because beforehand it felt a little bit just disjointed in the community, so we wanted to try and put as many out there as possible. And I've noticed so many people enjoying that lineup. I'm really pleased, whether it's concourse, showroom close, main daily driven, or just, you know, a very honest car with rust that's holding it together. The gaffer tape's been done. I can't do that again. So I want to present this award. It's quite difficult actually, and I try and concentrate on the stories rather than the actual car I'm looking at, and how they've got here. And there was one story that came up this week on the group, which was very obvious to me who was winning before we even started, which is a bit funny because usually you try and remain neutral before you've seen all the cars. And I can't ignore the 1.6 S, owned by Jordan. Jordan has spent most of this week rebuilding the engine because unfortunately he had a bit of a mishap early in the week, at very short notice, where something went in the engine. And we don't know how it happened, but he put a post on the group saying, I don't think I can do this because something's gone in, some grit or dirt or piece of weld from his exhaust had gone into the engine and it was making a sound. I've got to take it apart. And I know that Jordan owns a Mark II Fiesta, so it could be very easy for someone to go, well, I'll just bring the Mark II because that will get just as many plaudits as a Mark III. But no, he decided, I'm going to repair this, strip the engine apart, take the grit out, or the weld, which is what was the case, and he put it back together and he's made it here. So I think that shows massive dedication just to getting it here. So Jordan, if you are here, are you here, mate? Yeah, there we go. A bit worried then. Well done, my friend. Seriously, well done for that.
Right, you're back to me now.